Okay, so so now on to the Evans Online Social Media True False Privacy Quiz. Let's see how safe you really are. Into which category do you fall? So are you a smiley face or a frowny face? So get ready, you got your clues. So it's a 1 for true and a 2 for false. So as soon as everybody clicks, we'll see what the percentages were. Is everybody done? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so that means we have, I guess, roughly 2 people who said true. So why is this false?
It doesn't have a HTTPS.
Okay, the S at the end means that it's encrypted. You should never, ever give out information when it's an HTTP site. And they do this all the time. You could be signing up for Newsday, you could be signing up for promos, they're asking for your name, address, phone number. Don't ever do it unless it's got the S. Apple brand products such as iPhones have never been hacked. You're not answering?
No.
You read the answers already.
I didn't show them.
Did everybody? So what'd you play? Did everybody answer? All right. Now, if I had not put in iPhone and I said Apple brand computers have never been hacked, would that have changed anybody's mind? Because there's this myth among people who own Apple, I've never been hacked. I can't be hacked. That's only, Windows. It's not true. The reason why Windows has been more hacked is because of the fact that there are so many more people that use the Windows operating system. But the iPhone in particular has been hacked like crazy. It is okay to use the same password for 10 or more accounts as long as the password is considered very strong. Ready to answer that? The answer is false. If somebody, no matter how strong it is, if somebody uncovers your one password and that's all you're using, they've got every single thing that you have. Next one. Material that appears on the web, a photo, a story, etc., almost always can be found even after it is deleted. Did everybody? There are more than 16 people. That is correct. You can find virtually anything. I'll show you a little example of myself shortly. So if something has been there, it's there. And if you have something bad that it appears, if you were to Google in your name and something bad appeared within the first page, can you get it off there? There are companies that claim they can. They can't. What can you do? The only thing is you can have more posts written by you or others that have your name in there so they get further up on the list and those things that might be bad end up on page 3 or 4. If your credit card information is stolen, your personal liability for any online purchases made with that card is 0. Got everybody? Remember, it's anonymous. The answer to that one is true. It is 0. Zip. And if it's a store purchase and the card has been stolen, the maximum liability is $50. And that's only if the card has left your possession. But an online purchase, the liability is 0. So with all of this stuff that's happening with Target, for example, that you've probably heard about, the liability issue is very low. That wasn't the problem. What was the problem with the information being stolen for tens of millions of people for their credit cards? What was the problem? It wasn't the liability that they would vote on that card. What was the issue? Nobody? Yeah. And they have access to all this information about you. So you go set up another card, They could go into other sites and be you. Facebook is a safe haven for posting any kind of information because employers rarely check people out on Facebook. Right? False is the correct answer. Employers in much greater numbers go to Facebook, not just LinkedIn. So if you're chugging a beer or doing something else you shouldn't, be careful. A few years ago, you remember Michael Phelps, the guy who's won the most Olympic gold medals in history? He was on somebody's LinkedIn page smoking a bond pipe. He lost endorsers for a year because of that. Phishing is a harmless business practice. How many of you ever heard of the word phishing? Some of you may have heard of the word fish because it's a group. Phishing is when you get an email that has a logo and everything and appears like a real company and they're trying to get you to respond to it when in fact it's a fake company. So no, it is not harmless, that's false. The best way to handle spam is to click on the unsubscribe link that appears on the bottom of any email message. So if you get a message that seems like spam, and it will have on the bottom of it, unsubscribe. Should you click the unsubscribe? Ooh, we got a split on that one. The answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because when you click on it, if it in fact is spam, you are then letting them know that you have a live email account, which means they're going to go after you again. If you don't click on it, they're going to probably assume that you are not using the account anymore. It is okay to leave your phone's GPS tracking software in the on position. So if you've got a smartphone, you've got GPS built in, and the default is for it to be on. So you could use Google Maps and everything else. Okay, the correct answer is no. What you should do is, as the default, have it in the off position, and when you want to use it for something like Google Maps, you should turn it off. It's in your tools. You could turn it on and off. Why? Because you don't really want people tracking you and stalking you. I don't think. Young adults are more vulnerable to hacking and identity theft threats. I should add than old geezers like me. Wait for one more. I know there's 16. There we go. The answer is yes, but for a different reason than you might think. Who's the one that's using the devices all the time? You, right? So every time you go on, there's a potential that you could be hacked or have your identity stolen. So it's by virtue of the amount of use that you have. A public Wi-Fi hotspot is as secure as a wireless connection in your home. So we're talking about Panera, Starbucks. Is your mother's maiden name? Come on. One more. One more. So fighting the class. All right, the answer is true, and you said that probably because you know about the first one, is the Social Security number. But the other thing you really need to know about is never give out your mother's maiden name. So if you've been chosen for a Who's Who book or whatever or something else, they might ask you your mother's maiden name. Don't ever give that up because that is the second most important piece of private information for somebody to try to hack into. It is easy for your picture and other material to appear online without your knowledge. Okay, the correct answer is yes. You're sitting here now. I'm standing here now. You have your phone out. You take a picture, right? It ends up on Facebook or somewhere else all the time. So be careful when you're in the bar that your friend takes out their camera, which is the phone, right? Think of how easy it is now. When you sign up for social media, your contact information is totally secure. One more. Okay, the answer is no. Right, you're giving away a lot of stuff. That's why you should be careful giving away even your birthday, because that becomes an identifier of you, your birthday and birthday. Belonging to social media such as Whisper. Has anybody heard of Whisper? It's a new app that's going to become very popular. Belonging to social media such as Whisper, where users have anonymity, is a very good idea. So in other words, users have anonymity when they go and they're talking among one another. So you don't know who the other person is and they don't know who you are. Is that a good idea? Okay, so the answer is correct, is no. So why don't you want to be on this? Because the whole idea is I'm anonymous, I'm protected, nobody knows who I am. And the answer is because they're anonymous and you don't know who they are and they could be harassing and bullying. For privacy reasons, having one email account is best. Okay, and the answer is false. You should have one that you use for fun, another one that you use that you're serious about. We'll talk a little more about that. European credit cards are more secure than US credit cards. Have you been to Europe and use a credit card? Or have your parents use a credit card? The answer is yes, a close call there. That's because they have so-called smart chips that US cards don't have. So you have to punch in your individual PIN if you're in a restaurant or a store, and the information stays more on the card. The Google search engine does not track us. It does. Okay, so if you ever wonder how, when you go to a site or do a Google search and the ad that pops up on the top of the side says a store in Comac or wherever you live, it's because they're tracking you. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, but Google, the search engine, you actually can set it up so that you tell them you don't want to be tracked. So it's up to you to decide what to do. We're getting close to finish. It is a good practice to periodically check yourself out. Yes, yes. How else do you know what's out there about it? You should have virus protection on all your electronic devices and regularly clean out temporary files. You should have virus protection on all your electronic devices, meaning your phone and your computer, and regularly clean out temp files. Got one more to say something? Okay, so having said that you should, how many of you have virus protection software on your phone? How many of you know that you can get it for free as an app from your provider? So if you're using Verizon, AT&T, go to your app store, look it up. If you don't see it immediately, type in virus protection. But you are more vulnerable on your phone because of the mobility of where you're going around and the open networks than you are with your PC, so you should have your phone checked. And do you clean out your temporary files? Do you know what a temporary file is? Those are all these cookies and this garbage that ends up in your computer. So you should periodically